Hey everybody, welcome back to the Widener Range. It's Neil out here, and I want to spend a little bit of time today talking about our training regimen.
Today's video is brought to us by Mantis. The Mantis family of products is integral to ASP staff building handgun and carbine skills and are your most economical and fastest path to improvement in your skills too. Whether you choose the X10, the Laser Academy, the Blackbeard, or use them all in concert, they will help your practice be more effective, efficient, and fun. Go check them out, pick up a unit, and thank them for sponsoring today's video.
It's been kind of coming up a lot lately, in at least the circles I run in. I don't know about your circles, but what are you doing for training? What are you doing for this? What are you doing for that? And shooting is not unlike a lot of other things. I mean, if you just look at the great example we've seen here recently over the last, 10, 11 months where John has lost a significant amount of weight he had to follow a training regimen to get to that. And we see night and day differences in folks when they do that kind of thing. But it can, in some cases, and especially I feel like in the case of shooting, unless you're a high level performer in say some sort of shooting competition or something along those lines, I think we put maybe potentially us normal folks that don't go out and compete and don't go out and do all of that kind of stuff, maybe a little bit too much on that, and it can become intimidating to think that, wow, I'm not following my training. I haven't done enough dry fire lately. I don't follow this. I don't, I've got the book, but I'm not following it. Those kind of things. And what I want to tell you today is that for probably 99% of the shooters out there, it doesn't matter quite so much. Just doing something is going to be better than doing nothing. And I've just recently, I haven't shot in the last 2 weeks. We had graduation here with a whole boatload of people here out at the ranch to celebrate Cody's graduation. And then the very next weekend, we had a family trip that took us out of town for several days. And then work is hectic, and all of the things that happen that take life away. I haven't done the work that I need to do lately. But I could be intimidated by that, and I could beat myself up, or I could say, you know what, let's go do something fun. Let's have a good time. And I don't necessarily need to go to the range with a written plan. Now, I'm not saying that's bad, and I'm no shade on the guys that do that, because I know those guys are probably better shooters than I am anyway. But for those of us that struggle with that kind of thing, going to the range at all is a big step for some folks. I think you don't have to necessarily have a plan of what you're going to work on paper, but you need to have an idea of what you want to work on, and then make it fun and have a good time with it. There's a little indoor range that's about 4 miles away from me that I've gone to like 3 times, pardon me, 3 times, mostly because public ranges terrify me, and this one did not fail to terrify me that day. Steph and I walked out of there and said, yeah, we're probably not going to join this one. But what we saw there were several guys that walked in, loaded up all their mags, and then just stood up there and mag dumped at 5, 7, 15 yards, didn't read their targets, didn't really do much adjusting, just went back and reloaded and did another round. I think we can have purposeful fun on the range without the written stuff. Now, if you have the written stuff, that's great. I think that's a superior way to go. But like I said, sometimes that gets intimidating to folks, and sometimes it's a downer, and it just drags it out and makes us not go to the range. So for the next few minutes, I'm just going to play a little bit. I don't have my timer out here. The timer's sitting in the truck over there, so I'll get that out for another video. But maybe you want to work on your accuracy. Okay, you don't necessarily need your timer for that. Now, I think a timer is important. Don't hear me say that timers aren't important. But can you work on some accuracy at speed, at your speed, whatever that is? And you can push it, and then you can come back, and then you can hit the middle of that, and all of those different things. But we can do it and have fun. And so for this next little bit here, I'm going to work on some accuracy stuff. I'm standing at about, I'm going to go back to about probably 5 to 7 yards. I'm a little too close right now. But I'm going to work on some accuracy stuff, and I'm gonna start gun in hand, and I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna start with the head box, and then I'm gonna try to dial that into the 2-inch square, and then I'm gonna try to dial that into the 1-inch square, 2-inch circle. Sorry, I don't know my shapes. I'm from South Dakota. Give me a break. But it's gonna be fun. So come with me here, all right? John always makes fun of me that I'm at the wrong distance. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 5 yards, that little stick. You can't see it, but I can. So I'm gonna stand at 5 yards here. I'm just gonna start gun in hand. I'm gonna take the draw out of it because, you know, a lot of times you go to the range, they won't let you draw. And I do most of my draw work when I'm in my dry fire stuff. Like I said, don't do enough dry fire, but today that's not what it's about. So here we go. I'm going to, actually, you know what? Let's just bring the camera up here. I think I cannot shoot the camera. My stick's right here. You got me, all right. My ears. Again, I'm gonna try to take the emotional, the frustration out of it, because I think what I see a lot of times is, I'll see this here. Somebody comes up and shoots the and they beat themselves up over that shot. Now that shot was a line break on the head that I really wasn't paying attention to, so normally I'm not gonna beat myself up, but I see that all the time. So take the emotion out of it and just have a good time with it and go, you know what? I just got to make a bang. I've got my own range. It's a beautiful day. I'm out here working on something that I have some passion around, so I'm gonna have a good time with it. So now I'm just gonna come from my Marriott position, and what I'm working on is hang on, pulling the gun out with my left hand rather than throwing it out with my right. Is I marry up and I pull out, see my sight, got enough sight there to get my shot, and then I came back. I probably came back a little bit too fast, but I'm in the middle of explaining, and apparently when I talk I can't shoot well, although I am in the head box again. So I'm just working on my marry up. Grab here, pull out, see my sights, all that I need, let it go. And see my sights weren't where I needed to go. I had to fix my grip. Sight dropped right down to where it needed to be, and that was my best shot yet. But I'm not beating myself up over the fact that I wasn't there the first time, all right? These are my first 3 shots in a few weeks, so I'm pretty tickled with these. These are not bad at all. So I'm just gonna work on a few more of those. There we go. All right, I didn't see it on that last one. Shots went a little bit low. So now I'm gonna decipher and try to figure out what happened. I've got 2 shots that are just below the 3x5 card. I'll show you here the target in just a minute, but now I've got to decipher what am I doing. For me, what I'm doing, and your grip may be a little different than mine, but what I'm doing is I'm gripping a little bit too much and driving it down. And so what I need to do is not grip quite so much. There's my sight, there it is. So there we go. Now, if we were in a class and you were in a class with me, I would tell you, hey, hang out there just a little bit more and see your sight one more time. But what I'm working on is acquiring that. So again, I'm having a good time. I just shot, I don't know, most of a mag. I've got everything in the head box, minus those 2 that I did a emotionless correction. See, here's these 2 that went a little low. That's a very first line break. This little guy over here, don't worry about him. He doesn't count. I don't know what happened there. But again, that's for later. So when I'm working on my 1-inch square, I've already got a shot in there. But most of the stuff's in here. Until I made the same mistake twice, I didn't linger on it. I'm not gonna throw a ton of emotion on that. I'm gonna go, you know what, something wasn't right over here. I can figure it out pretty easy, but until it's a repeatable problem, I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on it. Now that I repeated that one, I'm like, oh, hold on, Neil, let's focus on not drawing in with the pinky quite so much, because that drops my muzzle. So that's what I did there. Now, let's go over here to the 2-inch circle. Gotta find my stick. There it is. Oh. It's not as easy when you don't have a cameraman. All right, so better grab another mag. I swear I had a stick right here. Oh, there it is. All right, cool. So this is from the same spot, doing the same thing here. I've got a few rounds left in this magazine, so just gonna work on my marry up, and I'm gonna press out, and I'm gonna hit the 2-inch circle. I'm gonna go for the number 1 on this one. There we go. Now that wasn't, you saw that wasn't near as fast, but I literally drilled the number 1 right in the center of it. There we go. Little low. Right on. Right on. Little low. Right on. Ooh. Now that one was interesting because I came in and you saw my grip got a little bit funky there because I was focusing on my pinkies, and then my dot was way high, so I had to bring it down. So just a fun lesson to learn. There we go. Ooh, no dot. There it is. My hands are already sweaty. Ooh, okay. So now you saw me pick up the pace a little bit there. I'm literally just having fun. There's no timers, there's no nothing, there's no anything on this, just having a good time. Now I know at some ranges they potentially might give you some grief about even shooting that fast. Sorry, build your own range and then you won't have that. But here's my low ones. I had a low one. That's that one that took me a minute to find it, and I'm just not bringing the grip in enough. I think what I've got going on with a couple of low shots here and this low shot there is that potentially I'm over gripping with my pinky and maybe I'm not getting enough with the rest of the hand. So I just got to focus on my grip. Like it's a little bit, I'm a little bit sweaty already because 85 degrees in South Dakota gets that way, but potentially that's all that is. These are completely acceptable hits in my book. I'm completely happy with that. Now you back up to 20 yards and these are going to be quite a bit lower, but so be it. That's not what I'm working on today. And I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I'm having fun. I get to shoot. I'm making the bang. And I'm learning some lessons and having a good time. Let's move over here. We'll go to this 1-inch square since I already shot that one by accident. Pro tip, when it's hot and muggy out, fill your mags in the air conditioning. I did not do that. Okay, here's my spot. I should paint a line next time. Okay, so now I'm going for the 1-inch square. Got just a few left. So, all right, there we go. Now you got to think about dot offset here, just a hair at 5 yards. I'm not gonna have to go too high, but I'm putting the dot right at the top, and I'm at the top left corner there. I'll show you in a minute. There we go. Just got to refine just a little bit more. So far, I'm happy. There we go. There we go. Oh, went low. Went low with 2. So I'm gonna show you this, mostly because I'm proud of my target right now. So these are all of the first shots right here. These are the last 2. And again, that's me going, just gripping in there a little bit too much. And pulling it down a little bit low. So it's the same thing that happened here, it's the same thing that happened there. Potentially a little bit of chalk might help me out here because I feel like I'm gripping a little bit harder because I'm sweaty, but it is what it is. And so, you know, the whole point of today's video is that we can come down here, we can have some fun. I can shoot what I shoot, 3 mags or 2 mags full of ammo here. And I learned a couple of little lessons here about my grip. I'm probably a little bit rusty because I've had a couple of weeks off now, but pretty happy with all of this, this little guy aside here, and I'll have to decipher that later when I watch the video. But guys, just get to the range, do some shooting, have some fun with it, and pick up those lessons. Now, what I can do with this is take this lesson back up to my dry fire dojo, and when I'm sitting in the air conditioning, I can work on that and I can start reading my dot. Am I seeing my dot come in and am I dropping it too much? Because that's literally what I'm doing here, but can I decipher what muscles are moving and what is causing it to drop that much so that I can work on that in dry fire? That's why we have to hit the range once in a while. And again, if you've had your family stuff, there were a ton of, I wasn't the only one that had a kid that graduated this year. I wasn't the only one that had a family trip this year. I'm not the only one that hasn't been doing the work that I probably should have been doing. So if that's you and you fall into that category, welcome to the team. You're welcome at my range anytime to work and have a little bit of fun. Do it safely, do it effectively, and try to pick up something with it, but take your emotion out of it. Don't let it be intimidating to you. Have a good one. See you next time.